Hello guys, welcome to Hindu Response and thanks for joining me today. In this video, I am going to talk about why Ambedkar left Hindu fold. But in order to know this, we need to look at some important events in Ambedkar life such as burning of Manusmriti or a statement like destruction of Hinduism, as well as some quotes used by anti-Hindu forces such as Hindu Raj must be stopped, and most importantly, at what point Ambedkar felt that he should leave Hinduism. Today we are going to see about burning of Manusmriti. Before going into the topic, I request you to press the subscribe button so that you won't miss my upcoming videos, as well as please check out my previous videos titled Why Ambedkar Rejected Christianity and Islam. Links are in my description. That being said, let us start. Burning of Manusmriti. On December 25, 1927, Babasaheb Ambedkar burned Manusmriti, and every anti-Hindu uses this as a weapon to mock Hindus. But the question is, what led Ambedkar to burn that Manusmriti on that day? It all started on 1923 when S.K. Bhole, a man from Bhandari community, made a resolution that the depressed classes should have the rights to use public water tanks, schools and temples in Babur legislation. Until that point, an untouchable had to pay money to take water, even though Muslims and Christians can use water for free. However, it didn't give much results due to caste Hindus, Christians and Muslims objecting to it. Because of that, S.K. Bhole made another resolution on 1926 that anyone who is against to 1923 resolution will be punished. On 1927, March 19 and 20, Ambedkar held a conference called Mahat Conference with 10,000 people, in which he gave various speeches and directions to untouchable Hindus. Several upper caste Hindus who were against untouchability went to that meeting and asked Ambedkar to drink the water from the public tank. Ambedkar and his men went to the tank, drank water from it. Everything was going fine. But after 2 hours, suddenly someone started to shout, "Look, look, these untouchables are entering into the temple." Another one started to shout, "Save our God, they are going to destroy it." Some rowdies started to attack the people over there. However, Ambedkar was able to stop the depressed classes attacking the rowdies and other caste Hindus in order to prevent riots. As usually, the police came and arrested those rowdies. On June 1927, Ambedkar got an invitation of a newly constructed temple which is open for all people irrespective of caste. When Ambedkar tried to enter into the temple, some evil-minded people stopped Ambedkar and his men, and after a long discussion and insults, Ambedkar left the temple. In 1927 July, Mangalwada, Pune, Ambedkar in a speech warned the depressed classes that not to be stooges in the hands of interested groups who want to use them against non-Brahmins to counterbalance their force. In other words, he was warning them not blindly believe Christian and Islamic missionaries whose main aim is to destroy Hindu culture by converting depressed classes. However, he even said not to blindly believe Hindu Sangatanists, who are wooing them only to fight Muslim dominance. As a form of protest, Ambedkar decided to launch Mahat Satyagraha. Most of the newspapers and some so-called reformists started to write and talk negatively about Ambedkar and on his Satyagraha. But on that situation, only Veer Savarkar supported Ambedkar and said, "The notion of purifying oneself with animal urine was more ridiculous and despicable than the notion of defilement at human touch." Savarkar supported Ambedkar Satyagraha and said, "It's our duty as Hindu to support fellow Hindu." Answering the haters, Ambedkar said that the cause depressed classes determined to espouse was not only human and for their own good, but also national. It was great contribution to Hinduism itself. November 13, 1927, Conference on Temple Entry Movement, Amaravati. Ambedkar protest was going in its peak. Several upper caste Hindus started to support Ambedkar, and they started to force temple authorities to allow depressed classes to enter temple, which was rejected every time. Some even suggested to build separate temples for depressed classes, which Ambedkar rejected, saying that God should be allowed to all. And he even said it's not about the satisfaction from the worship of image of God, but the plain fact that temple is not defiled by presence of an untouchable, nor is the purity of image affected by it. He even said Hindutva belonged to as much as to the untouchable Hindus as to the touchable Hindus. The temples are built from the sacrifice of both touchables and untouchable Hindus, must be open for all Hindus irrespective of caste. September 11, 1927, speech in Damodar Hall. In that, Ambedkar asked his committee members to come up with a date for Satyagraha, and after 4 days they came up with December 24 and 25. Ambedkar said that the aim of his Satyagraha is derived from Gita, and he was like Arjuna in Mahabharata, fighting for the right cause. December 24, 1927. Around 3,000 people participated in that Satyagraha by shouting Jai Chhatrapati Shivaji. And after that, Ambedkar gave his speech. In that, Ambedkar said, "The Hindus are known for their humanitarian sentiments and their regard for animal life is proverbial. Some sections do not kill even poisonous reptiles. The Hindus maintain a large army of sadhus and able-bodied beggars and believe that they acquire merit by feeding and clothing them and giving them cash for indulging in luxuries. The Hindu philosophy teaches the doctrine of all-pervading soul, and the Gita exhorts them to make no distinction between a Brahmin and a Chandal." Ambedkar stated that the answer why having such a great philosophy still Hindus treat others as untouchables lies in Shastras, which granted caste system. He gave various examples in which where the Hindu scripture says to respect non-Brahmins and untouchable saints, and yet Brahmins wanted to ignore them so that they won't lose their superiority. In his concluding speech, he said, Hindu society should be reorganized on two main principles, equality and absence of casteism. Thereafter, Mr. G. N. Sahasrabuddhe, a Brahmin, read extracts from Manusmriti, those portions which related to the treatment to be meted out to the Sudras, and they all decided to burn Manusmriti, saying that a new law book should be made cause when it comes to untouchables, Brahmins strictly implement Manusmriti on them, but when it comes to Brahmins, they avoid it. They gave the example of Tilak, a Hindu reformist who was born as a Brahmin but owns a textile mill which is against Manusmriti, and yet he is still treated as a Brahmin and was allowed to teach Vedas. On the next day, Ambedkar went to Chhatrapati Shivaji Fort to give respect to Shivaji. Years after, in an interview with TV Parvat, a front-rank journalist, Ambedkar said, "The bonfire of Manusmriti was quite intentional. It was a very cautious and drastic step, but was taken with a view of forcing the attention of caste Hindus. At intervals, such drastic remedies are a necessity. If you do not knock at the door, none opens it. It is not that all the parts of Manusmriti are condemnable, that it does not contain good principles, and that Manu himself was not a sociologist and was a mere fool. We made a bonfire of it because we view it as a symbol of injustice under which we have been crushed across centuries. Because of its teachings, we have been grounded down under despicable poverty, and so we made the dash, staked all, took our lives in our hands, and performed the deed." He even said that a Harikirtan made by untouchables was sung as a way of hitting the Brahmins after burning Manusmriti. These all are the facts of Manusmriti burning. But here comes few questions that needed answers. Why so-called reformists who are burning Manusmriti, such as JNU students and Christian organizations, don't shout Jai Shivaji Maharaj? Why there is no Harikirtan after the burning of Manusmriti by so-called reformists? Why they don't visit Shivaji Fort when Ambedkar did that? Why this so-called reformist or activist hide these facts related to Manusmriti burning? As you can see from all this, Ambedkar burned Manusmriti cause it was implemented with a biased mind and was outdated, and until that point, Ambedkar is still a Hindu. In my upcoming video, we are going to see what led Ambedkar to say, "I won't die as a Hindu" in 1935, and why it took 25 years for Ambedkar to take Buddhism. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Viewers, Hindu Response.